Fleet Street, this major thoroughfare in central London was once synonymous with the British print and journalism industry. In its golden days, it was called the spiritual home of British journalism. In fact, England's first daily newspaper, the Daily Courant, was published from Fleet Street in 1702. Collins Dictionary defines Fleet Street as British national newspapers and the journalists who work for them, a reflection of how popular it was. The 500-meter-long street was built by the Romans around 200 AD and connects the Strand to St. Paul's Cathedral. It was named after the River Fleet, a once mighty river that ran through London. Over the course of urbanization, the river has been reduced to an underground sewage channel. Fleet Street's association with printing began in the early 16th century when a publisher named Wynkyn de Worde moved his press from Westminster to Fleet Street. The printing industry flourished here over the next 200 years. The first drafts of many historical events, including the rise and fall of the British Empire, were reported from Fleet Street. By 1920, almost all nationally circulated newspapers in the UK, including the Times, the Daily Telegraph, the Daily Express, the Morning Post, the Daily Mirror, and the Daily Mail, were operating from Fleet Street. Between the two world wars, newspaper readership in the UK reached an all-time high, and so grew the hustle and bustle in Fleet Street. Many journalists and press workers used to take night and weekend shifts at other newspapers outside their regular office hours. As a result, a strong sense of fraternity developed among the pressmen in the vicinity. It started becoming a city within a city where more than 100,000 people would work 24 hours a day. Fleet Street was also known for its heavy drinking culture. Many journalists would spend long hours in the nearby pubs and taverns discussing news and meeting their contacts for scoops of a drink. Ye Old Cheese was one of the oldest pubs in London. It was rebuilt in 1667 after the Great Fire of London a year ago. Cheese has been frequented by numerous prominent literary figures including Dr. Samuel Johnson, Mark Twain, W.B. Yeats, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, John Milton, and Charles Dickens. Dickens even featured it in his A Tale of Two Cities and the Pickwick Papers. The demise of Fleet Street's 300-year connection with journalism began in the 1980s and it was complete within a couple of years. For years, newspaper owners and trade unions of the print workers had been haggling over a number of issues. Owners preferred the cheaper offset litho printing over the labor-intensive hot metal linotype prevailing in Fleet Street. Unions opposed the idea that the new method would force 90% of the old-fashioned typesetters out of work. Besides, operating offices from Fleet Street were getting costlier. In January 1986, media magnate Rupert Murdoch moved the production of 3 newspapers of his News International group, the Times, the Sun, and the Sunday Times, to a new plant in Wapping, East London. In response, print unions announced a strike and attempted to block the distribution of the Sunday Times and other newspapers at the new plant. The strike, known as the Wapping Dispute, led to the immediate dismissal of 6,000 print workers at News International. The following protests were dealt heavy-handedly by the then Conservative government of Margaret Thatcher. Thatcher saw trade unions as an obstacle to economic growth. The protests gradually subsided, and all major newspapers relocated their offices and printing works by 1988. News agency Reuters remained until 2003. Fleet Street made headlines once again in August 2016, when the last two journalists left their office. Reporters Terrell Smith and Gavin Sheriff were the last to switch up lives as the Dundee-based Sunday Post closed its London office. Today, the street is a hub of banks, consulting majors, and legal services. All journalists may now be gone from Fleet Street. Its legacy as spiritual home of British journalism continues to live.